go with the flow with this. Go with the flow with this. Don't you worry, two leaves won't grow the same. And people might forget your name. Doesn't matter if they do.
I am chosen, and today I choose me before I wait for someone else to choose me. Selah.
Your story and how you got here.
It's in the positive diet.
Yes.
And I was like, why did you write that? Okay, so let me say, I think my life, I survived all that I did because God knew I would be transparent to help somebody. Mm-hmm. And I like to laugh and I like to joke, but I never make light of pain in somebody's story, because I don't care if it's not near mine, and I don't go into details right now because I don't want anybody to look at this and be like, well, man, she went through this and why, blah, blah, blah. No, everybody's situation is pertinent to them. Mm-hmm. I don't care what you went through. You may not have you may just feel sad because you feel sad because you didn't get the Gucci shoes. I can love you too, because that's just where you are. There's nothing wrong, or I don't look at anybody's situation greater than another, not even my own, right? And I created the positive diet because I realized that so many people are so used to negativity, they don't understand that being positive is just as easy as being negative. A thought's a thought, right? We all hear this. A thought's a thought. So if you have a negative thought come in your head, you can invite a positive thought in your head because you control the negative thought that came in your head. It is just that simple. Some people are like, it's not really. It is. It just means that if you are inviting more negative thoughts in your head, you need the positive diet. You need to get into a place where you have that 21-day challenge. It's a 21-day challenge to be positive to yourself and to other people, to realize who's around you, who's positive or not. Maybe ask them to join you. It's an ebook, so I'm not saying I wrote it, but don't tell the author. I said you might just want to print it and give it to somebody. It's an ebook. I mean, it happens. It's a blessing for the people. So my whole thing is, if that is when you realize in it, and if you mess up one day, doesn't mean it's done. You just start over again for 21 days.
Yes. If
you decide, I can't do 21, I'm going to do 7. I don't like this lady telling me to do 21 days. I'm going to do what I want to do. Do 7. It's better than doing none. It's better than allowing yourself to be in a space where you think that negativity is controlling you, or you don't even realize how toxic your environment is. I've had CEOs and regional managers come back to me and say, I really like how you implemented, this program. And I know I need to do more of my own PR because a company decided to put it on their portal for their employees, and people loved it.
Yes.
Why am I not doing more with this? I got sick, but that's okay. I will. I'm gonna get out there, guys. And so, the thing is that even when someone hands you information, create the space that you need for yourself.
Exactly.
Everything in that book may not work for you, and that's the same thing in life. Every little thing does not mean it has to. You fit the mold. Like Vogue is not looking for me. Okay, but there are magazines that are looking for me. And that's the same thing with jobs. If you have the job to do to take care of yourself, and if you had to employ yourself to be controlled, to control your body, would you hire yourself? And if you say no, then you got some work to do. But don't be really stringent with yourself. I find it that we are that whole thing, we're all our best critics. Well, then you need to be your best critic but write a heck of a wonderful review. You know, so if that's what you are, why are you not writing good reviews about yourself? You can easily write the bad one. So this is why that book is so important to me, because a lot of the principles in it, and I still use it to this day, that are in this book literally saved my life, because it saved me from myself and it saved me from people. It saved me from toxic things that I was creating and fostering, even though I thought I was helping people, because I was that person who I took care of everybody else but myself.
Exactly.
And the thing was, I didn't realize that I was making a mess of their lives too, because they shouldn't be that dependent on me. But and why am I not getting my life to be successful? But I want to make sure that they're not more worthy of me loving myself than me loving myself. Does that make sense? You know, where I'm gonna love you better than I love myself, when the Bible says love your neighbors as you love yourself. So if you're not loving your neighbor as you love yourself, you just got a little evaluation to do. You just look at it. And I don't think 21 days out of a span of a lifetime is a long time to say it could get me on a course. And so I have January 2020, I was on a high. I was exhausted. When I say exhausted, I was tired, okay? Because I decided the play that I did here in Dallas, the other side, I was doing everything. I will not do that again. That's not wise. But Robyn helped me out a lot, and I still could have asked for more help. But that's something else I'm still working on, because we got to work, on ourselves forever. And I was on a high, and I was like, okay, we're gonna do this play in New Jersey, New York, because people asked me to come and bring it, and we're gonna do some things, and maybe I'll pitch it or sell it or see if we could, do X, Y, and Z. And I was like, well, then the week after the pandemic, a friend of mine that I had just recently told him that I would open myself up to us possibly dating, and he was like, well, I'm gonna come to Texas this summer, and we'll spend some time and see what's what, and blah blah blah. He passed away suddenly in his sleep. And so February was a lot, like January and February really, because I did not go to the funeral. And the last time I had spoke to him was New Year's Day, because I was getting ready for this play, and then I was like, man, I gotta give him a call, and didn't do it, and then he passed. And so I was just in my feelings, and then here comes the pandemic, and I was like, kind of put stuff to, and I was working on a documentary, and I had this documentary come in that talks about women who are plus size that are like out here killing the game, and just things that they've went through from corporate America to just life period. And so we're at this height, and I'm almost done with this documentary, and everything is shut down. And I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do here? So I live alone. My family is in New Jersey, and the East Coast is getting hit heavy before Texas.
Yes.
We're still trying to figure out what to do. I have underlying conditions, plus I'm obese, so I'm in the house, and I'm like, holy crap, do I go outside? Do I wipe down my groceries? Do I not do it? Like, nobody's really knowing what to do. The news is telling me anything, and I'm not a fan of the news. So we get through some time, then of course you see people now like celebrating birthdays, and that's becoming a new norm, and doing stuff on a lot of Zoom, and everything is digital, right? And so now my heart is going out to people, because I'm intuitive, but I'm also and I feel people, and I'm like, I feel the heaviness of people who are like coming to me for answers, and I'm like, I'm reading everything I can, but nobody really has answers right now. And now we're like in May, and we really don't know what's the deal.
The 72-hour thing is cut, right?
Right, it's cut, because we might have 72 days, 7,200 hours of being on feelings, and and I'm like, wow, what do we do? And so people are like, oh, you're overthinking it, you're overdoing it, but then people, and my sincere condolences to anyone lost anyone, because I did too. We have lost people, you know, and so, you know, some people are like, you're doing too much, and you know, you need to go outside. I'm like, I know, but how safe is outside for real? And so then you get into now, I remember this day vividly. Like I vividly remember the day that I first saw the George Floyd video. This is before it was like talked about anything. Sean King had posted it. Like this was the day he passed. That day. So it wasn't on the news. It wasn't this big. And I'm sitting there and I watched this video. And the first thing I say is, did I just watch somebody die? Because again, we're not having a conversation about this. We don't know what happened to this man yet.
Right.
And I was like, I think I just watched somebody die. Here comes another trigger because I've watched people die before. So now I'm really triggered. Like, I'm like, what is going on? So remember I talked about the fiance that I was engaged to before I got married that passed away. He was one of the people I watched die. And the way he died was tragic, and I won't say it because I don't know if his family wants to, you know, people to repeat it because of what, you know, it's just a sensitive topic for them, and I respect them, and I still love them dearly, and they love me. And so that whole time of just dealing with that and sitting with that was very tough for me. So I really did decide to go back to therapy at that time because my parents are deceased. I'm the eldest child. People look for me for comfort, and I'm like, I'm numb, and I was numb. I just literally was numb. Like I literally had no, like if you would have went like this, I wouldn't have felt it. I was just, so the therapist said to me, why are you at therapy? I said, because I know I need it. She said, oh, I said, I don't know how to this. I don't know how to do this. And I'm the kind of person that I want to know how to do whatever I have to deal with in life so I can do it well. Right? And that's different from somebody being controlling. It's okay to not know how to do something. And if you don't know how to do something, you seek the person that can help you figure out how you need to operate. So I told her how I was feeling and the decisions that I had made and the things how I was governing myself. And she said, I think you're doing wonderful. She said, because this is what's best for you. She said, I don't think you're overanalyzing stuff. She said, but we got to talk about this whole triggering. And, you know, obviously she could see me on video, so she knows I'm African American. And she's like, how do you feel about, you know, the systemic racism, oppression, and all the things that we're talking about now, white fragility, where all these words are coming out at us, right? Things I've read, things I know about. I said my biggest issue is the fact that we're not educating people, just like nobody's educating people about the pandemic and about the strand. You're not educating people, no matter what color they are, because there's people that are brown like me that are not educated about their own people and what we've been through and the oppression. Some people don't even see it because they're sheltered. And so, you know, so we began to have this conversation, and she was like, I said, I've been reading books like this since I was 8 years old. I said, so for me, that bothers me. But what can I do on this scale? What can, you know, I'm feeling some type of way. And so, but the thing was, I had never talked about how I felt when my fiance died. 20 years of silence. Just packed it away, locked it up, kept it there. If I talked about him, I always talked about him in a good light, because he was that in this part of my life, he's the love of my life. Even, you know, my husband knew that, because my husband knew our relationship, because again, he was my best friend, so he was around, he saw that. And not saying it took away from the love that I had for my husband at all. The reality is, I love hard regardless. So if I let you in, I love hard. I haven't had that many really deep relationships. You know, I had people that took care of what I needed, vacation, stuff like that, little change, rent, you know, whatever. And, you know, other things. But at the end of the day, this, you know, when I love you and I'm in a relationship with you, I love really hard. And I had not spoken about what it felt like to watch him die. And that was needed. And I'm glad I did, because I didn't know what was about to come, you know. And so fast forward to like maybe 2 months later, I started not really feeling well, which was odd for me because I'm like really super high energy, and I knew something wasn't right, and I kept ignoring it because I had just moved in a pandemic. I don't advise it, but anyway, so I moved in this pandemic.
Not recommended.
I don't recommend it. But if that's what you want to do, God bless. And so I moved. So I'm like, move it, right? So I'm still holding on to my thumb. I'm like, you ain't going nowhere, ma'am. You're gonna be here for a while. She's like, okay, because you got to walk me through this because here. And so I moved. I get into here, so I'm like, I'm just tired because I had to pack and blah blah blah. I'm doing it by myself because we're in the pandemic. Because at the time, still people ain't trying to come to your house, ma'am. So right, and so I'm like, okay, and I move into this place, get here, and then I had my godchild had come to be here, and I'm tired, like to the point like I can't know what's going on in my body, but I keep like, okay, you know, it's just pandemic. I'm in it. I'm moving, tired, did a lot by myself, didn't take any time off because I'm every woman. It's all in me, that part. And I'm working from home, so I take time off. I took 2 days to physically move, and then I'm back on Zoom like, hey guys, and you know, house is a wreck, but I'm getting it done, and you know, and just hustling, bustling. So just know I hustle and bustle like y'all. And I was like, you know what? My resting heart rate is not where it should be. And to some people, it was odd that I would say that, but I know what my resting heart rate is. And I started going to the gym more because I was like, what am I doing? Like, my resting heart rate is usually at this rate, and it's too high. Even though it was normal, but it was too high for me.
Okay. And
I go to the urgent care across the street, and she was like, you know, you need to rest. She said, but I need you to go to the emergency room. Just because of your history, I want you to go to the emergency room. I'm like, okay. I go to the emergency room. My right lung is filled with blood clots. The entire lung, from the top to the bottom, blood clots. I'm like, all right, here we go.
And we still in the pandemic.
So now I have this young lady who moved here, and I'm in the hospital, and I'm praying that first I'm thanking God that I'm still alive.
Yes.
And I'm praying, and I'm like, okay, no COVID, but I'm in a pandemic, in a hospital pandemic, where there's COVID.
Mighty God.
With blood clots. Ooh. So they're like, okay, man, we're going to send you home. I said, thank you. So they sent me home. Normally it would be a little too fast, but again, we're in a pandemic, and I'm in a hospital where there's COVID. I'm not on a COVID floor, but I'm in a hospital.
And quite the thought around COVID being, you know, around your respiratory system and having a lung full of blood.
Right. So I come home, and they gave me like a lot of medicine, and we're in a pandemic. Who coming to take care of me in a pandemic? My godchild that's here is in college, so she's online in school, but she want to take care. Like, you know, she's scared now. Like, you know, like, oh my goodness, are you gonna live? Like,
right.
I'm like, okay. In a pandemic. I don't even know, cause I slept all of October. Just to let y'all know, like literally slept, like I was asleep. knocked out. November, started to get some strength back. Found out now I'm anemic on top of it, and they gotta, so now it's like trying to get to the proper care, because the doctor that I had, who was an Asian doctor, could care less about my health. Won't even get into the story. Literally, that's what it was. Somebody else said, well, try this place. Okay. It was like, so you didn't have this, and this test, and you haven't seen this, and you haven't seen a doctor since? Are you kidding me? Like, they're freaking out because they were just cavalier and just sent me home. Why? Because we're in a pandemic and people are dying of COVID. Even though this is a life-threatening situation, I'm now here where I would have been here if it wasn't a pandemic.
Was this at the first one?
The first
doctor?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, found another doctor. Grateful I found another doctor.
We just changed whole systems, y'all.
Right.
I wasn't having it.
Right. Literally changed entire system.
No, sis.
Phone, you got to do.
You got to go with
right.
this and not them.
Yes. And so we went and these doctors formed a team, which I should have. That's normal practices. I got a team of doctors now. I have a cardiologist, hematologist. I have all the doctors that need to be in there. Primary, everybody's in there. And thank goodness, because they went from then you're going to be on blood thinners for the rest of your life. And excuse my pauses because it's the first time I'm verbalizing this because it's still very new.
She's dealt with it very intimate.
I have.
Very. I'm so proud of her.
Thank you.
Yes.
And
but there's that hurdle that she's overcome with a whole team.
Yes. Thank you, guys. And my family can't get to me because we're in a pandemic. And they want to make sure that they don't infect me, right? So I had to take my own principles and start implementing them. Because for a brief moment, when I say brief, it was 72 hours. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I cannot. I'm out. Come get me, or I'm out, and I'm gonna see you. Either I'm passing through, and you be like, nah, you can't come up here, or whatever. But that's where I was. For a brief moment, I battled to not feel that feeling like I'm exhausted. And it really was being in pain, because I was in pain, hard to walk, hard to breathe, hard to stand up. I'm on all kind of medication, so now my memory is I have a lot of brain fog. Still today, the brain fog is interesting, but it's better. Because it was bad. Like, I would look at a piece of furniture in the house and could not call its name. I could hear it, and then sometimes I couldn't recall. Like, I didn't know that the word for the island in your kitchen is an island. I had to say, what's this thing right here? Because I was having because my body was like, whoa, what are you doing?
Having little brain farts.
Right. And so I struggled, and it was like when you're somebody who's always high energy, on the go, and you're going and you're able to do, and you had to slow down because of the pandemic, and you're in the house, you're embracing that, and now literally you have a hard time getting up to go to the bathroom. That begins to weigh on you. But then I'm like, okay, I'm here for a reason. God spared my life for a reason. I don't have the right to say I'm gonna take it. I could say it, but really, don't you need to talk to some people? Some people need to understand the depth of where you've been and how you're now in a space where you're better than before. Because then it was like, I have alopecia, right? So on top of the obesity, the high blood pressure, I got the clots now. I have alopecia, so I have several underlying conditions. And with the medicine, it got hot under the wig.
Come on off, sweetie. Come on off.
It is what it is. Here we are. This is what I'm giving to Earth. Forever.
Yes.
If this is the case, if I decide to slip it on and it look good, if it get hot, I'm gonna take it off. But I probably won't even try it because I'm in a space where, again, this is who I am, and this is who I need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that was so amazing was I feel like I'm more attractive without the wig.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. It's like me coming out them long sleeves and showing these stretch marks.
Hey. One stretch mark at a time.
They love the tiger stripe.
Okay. And so I just was like, hey, I recognize you. Hey, you.
Yes.
And I was like, hey.
Did you start running past that mirror again, girl?
Listen, I told y'all I gave up to not looking in the mirror and not smiling some years ago. And now I'm in the mirror. I can't get out. I got mirrors all over the house. Mirrors here, mirror there. You know, you walking out, you like, well, is it a hall of mirrors? No, it's not. I just really appreciate the levels of living that happens when you keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So the saying of keep going, you know, it was a saying for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I realized the levels of what I've accomplished, being born with of a teenage mother who did her very best to mother,
Mm-hmm.
A teenage father who decided that I'm not equipped for this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, understanding where they were, understanding, you know, their lack of understanding.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't keep me from understanding an avenue in my life
Mm-hmm.
where I need to live, right? And so I'm thankful for my parents.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people would be like, oh, you you have daddy issues. Like, you can't talk about my father. That's my father. Like, we won't have, there's no reason to be disrespectful
Mm-hmm.
because I understand where they were in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing for my mother. And God bless them both, their passed on. You know, and then some people would say, well, what are you struggling with because you're overweight? Well, to be honest with you, for years I struggled with not eating enough. Because as a child, I was the Serena Williams in the household of Jada Pinkett's.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought that was fat. And I wasn't fat.
To be more of an Amazon and
Mm-hmm.
athletic,
Mm-hmm.
taller than the bunch.
Mm-hmm.
I get it, sis.
Yeah, and that was me. Right. You know what I'm saying? I was athletic. I ran track. I was the captain of the color guard squad. I was in various things. I was a singer. I was very active.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is that no matter what I ate, the question was, why are you eating that?
Mm-hmm.
So then I got to a space where I stopped eating.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had doctors beg me, I need you to eat more because your body literally is in starvation mode.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, okay, let me do my research about nutrition. And then I got into that and I decided, let me do what I have to do. So then I lost a ton of weight. Like, now I'm very conscious of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm back in a space where I'm working on it because I realized that the value of my life is so much more than I could even imagine. I'm needed so much more.
You are needed, sister.
Thank you. So are you.
Thank you.
And I thank God for that, because I learned that with the blood clots. I learned that still being here with all the things I share with you, the underlying conditions,
Yes.
in a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still alive.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna start eating, you know, just as much as I was able to get to a space where I could stop showering in the dark and I got into a space years ago where I started eating consciously. Yeah, I'm gonna start eating consciously. Yes, I'm gonna have the smoothie in the morning because I'm notorious for not eating till like 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Notorious.
I'm a dinner girl.
Right.
So.
My God,
I don't eat till I get home.
She was like, "Oh, this is real." She little tiny thing. She said, "This is real. You don't eat." She was like, "Let me get my own food." That little baby was scared she was gonna starve. She said, "Let me get my own food so I can just heat it up. So whenever you get ready to cook, I can eat because this is real." I said, "Yeah, honey, I don't partake in a lot." And it really is. I became aware of the things that were said to me when I was growing up. So I got past that. It was the not dealing with all the losses. And then when the pandemic came, the therapy, I was like, well, since I'm already here, therapy lady, let's deal with the things that I haven't talked about since 2011. So that's what we started talking about. And of course, when I became ill, she was very concerned and she helped me walk through that. And so I contacted my doctor and said, I want to come in for a nutrition appointment because even though I'm a vegan, I need to now have the support because I need to do this thing how I'm supposed to do it. And I want to do it at my very best. And today I'm at my very best. And at 6 months, I'm going to be at my very best. I could be 60 pounds smaller or 6 pounds smaller. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be at my very best because here I made a decision, and here I made a decision to be at my very best for where I am at this point in my life. So when I wake up in the morning, I look in that mirror and I say, "Hey, Trevilia, girl, we here." They ain't ready for us. And we just go outside and we live a life of what we need to do. You know, who was it that somebody said they look in the mirror, they're like, "Oh my God, you so-and-so. So why can't you look in the mirror and say, 'Oh my God, I'm Trevilia Hodge'?"
Right.
You do it.
"Oh my God, I'm Robyn Easley."
Hello. And you know, I was like, wait a minute. Somebody like, that's real vain. It's not. It's being your own cheerleader. You know, you ain't gonna go outside with a t-shirt like, "Oh my God, it's me." Like, we don't do that. You know, but at the end of the day, to have the moment with yourself intimately to say, "I advocate for you." Oh my gosh, that's such a good feeling. You know, look in the mirror and do that. And just tell yourself, even if you can't say, "Hey, I love you," and mean it in the mirror. I advocate for you. Start there.
Your day-to-day behavior, though, is based on how you treat yourself.
It is.
You know, we can't go out into the world and expect somebody to treat us as decent as we have not. Like, no. How can you expect somebody to treat you more than what you treated yourself to? It's not possible. And I actually think that we're at a good place to round out the topic for the pandemic. And where is it that you were coming from when you created the pandemic?
Oh, you know, honestly, I had a dream about it. And I woke up and I knew that God showed it to me and was like, "You need to do this." And I was like, "Pandemic, don't shoot it."
Y'all.
Right. So here I am.
I got the sneak peek, by the way, because I got the scoop on everything. Okay.
She did. And so I'm in the house. I got a ring light, and I have an iPhone. And I said, "Let's make magic." And I took everything that I saw people deal with, and I regurgitated it. And
talk about regurgitation, honey. This is past transparency.
It is definitely, Cause you don't. For me, it's hard to interpret my own art. You know, it is, and I let someone else get a sneak peek of it, right? And this was a compliment, but it was funny. So she writes back, I really hope that, she was like, well, you know, she has a platform, she has a views, but it's not nothing like to do with what this is. And I did, you know. So she was like, I don't think I can put this on my platform. I have to really consider it. She said, and I hope you got help with everything that you're dealing with. I said, I love you, and I didn't want it to be on your platform because you have a fitness platform. This on another, but I'm good. And this isn't my personal story. Like, even though if you see the film and you hear me talk, granted, there are some remnants of my story in there. But this movie is not my story. This is the people's story. This is. Yes,
I definitely got a generalized story.
Did you get the generalized story?
Yeah, I didn't think of it as anything problematic, but
she was sending me for therapy and help.
But I think knowing you is a huge part of your art. You know what I'm saying? And just being able to have this perception of who you're not throughout it all is very, very clear. You know what I'm saying?
I thought so.
Yes.
I thought so.
She speaks so effortlessly, and you can tell that every part of it was just what would typically happen. I think we have three different types of people that are identified.
Right.
So,
and I don't have multiple personalities.
No,
I promise you.
But she is definitely a theatrical person. So, hence The Other Side being released in 2020. So,
I love theater. I grew up. My aunt worked on Broadway in New York City, and I love theater. Like, I love it. I live for it. And a lot of people tell me I should be on stage.
Yeah, she watches indie foreign films.
I do.
As a hobby.
I do. And I like to be on the other side of the camera, but I'm not afraid of being in front of the camera, right? And I have another play that I actually am going to do virtually, and I'm excited about that. But this film, the pandemic, it's the film for the people. It is a film for anybody who feels that they can identify what is happening. It's dedicated to Cicely Tyson. And that's part of it too. I really had a sobering moment when she passed away.
God rest her soul.
God bless. And
what a beautiful light.
Yeah.
Throughout our entire lifetime.
Right. And I'm very
lifetimes.
I'm connected to her. Like, I really have been all my life. And I was struggling when she passed. And it, like, the day before her book came out, I'm like, what? So for me, find your channel to get out some of the things that you're feeling. So for me, writing is a channel. And this time I felt led to take it to another level because phenomenal actress, everything. I mean, she has so many accolades, but it was like, and then the ball head was right there anyway. So I was like,
take advantage
of it, especially because her book cover has her when she was bald, and I was like, okay, what time? And like, are these signs, you? And I'm like, what is God trying to say? Are you gonna let me be that small? Because okay,
yes.
So that's where it came from. It just was the energy. It was, everything that I saw people dealing with, and not being able to reach them. And I was like, how can I reach people? Because I love to help. I want people to be well. And because I know it's possible, you could ask my therapist, she'll tell you she good. She's doing better than most people. She'll be like, let's work on this, but you are doing fantastic. And she saw the film as well, and she didn't think that
she was going through it, baby.
Right.
I'm like,
she
told you what she went through.
Right. She,
personally.
Exactly. And so she took the I took the young lady's comment as a compliment, because I said, if you could think that was me telling my story, then I did a good job executing.
Exactly.
So that's how I took it, because I said to my therapist, I said, I need you to see this, because am I missing something? And even she was just like, this needs to be out. This was so well done. She was like, it was well executed. You did an excellent job.
Yes.
And so, no, I'm good. And thank God. And I'm excited to enter into some film festivals. I'm excited for people to see it.
I don't think we know enough about it. Can you tell us, like, what are some of the high level points that we need to look out for?
Okay. That's a good question. This is the first time we're talking about it.
I guess in terms of genre, concept.
The genre, monologue. It is a monologue. Mm-hmm. The concept is someone finding their voice in the pandemic because they allowed themselves to fit the mold of what they thought people expected them to be. Mm-hmm. So there's a woman who plays her part in society, and she's a sweetheart, but she is very careful in how she presents herself. Mm-hmm. And then something happens, and she really, truly is taken aback. Mm-hmm. And she has a moment of self-reflection, and I think that moment was a universal moment of self-reflection.
Mm-hmm. Universal, guys.
Yeah.
She has no problem.
Yes. It's very universal. And then she decided to dress her part. Mm-hmm. And then there is the spoken word. Mm-hmm. But it also is a monologue of taking her stance in America.
Exactly.
And I as a woman, it's not just for women. Mm-hmm. This is because men are birthed out of women. Mm-hmm. This is humanity taking their stance. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I don't want people to look at it as a gender specific piece, because humanity was born from a woman. Mm-hmm. And this is people of all spaces of minority people taking their stance in a place that they built, that they were told was not theirs. How do you build something that doesn't belong to you? And how do you live in a place and you're told you're not welcomed?
I think it causes the viewer to do a bit of introspection as to why hadn't you taken a stance in your reality? Why hadn't you taken the opportunity to stand firm and tell people how it is that you feel? Because we've been talking about being conditioned all night long tonight.
Yeah.
How many times do we turn the other cheek?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Culturally. Yes. Mm-hmm. How many times do we do that? Mm-hmm. But the introspective piece also says that I recognize today, based on these events that have occurred, summing up the pandemic, that I'm worth taking another turn.
Yeah. Most definitely. And I do hope as a people we pivot as a result of this pandemic.
We've had quite a few pivotal moments over just 1 year, guys.
Yes, we have. And the fact that we are still talking about this and there's not a lot of action being taken is concerning to me. And I want to put myself I'm going to put myself in a position where I can help take action, because the conversations are cute. But there's been a lot of conversations. And now people need to see, and generations behind us need to see, that action is key. Talk is cheap, as they used to say years ago. And so for me, one of the parts for me in writing this was, and there was some personal insight into it, right? So there's a personal moment for me. This was my birthday dress last year that I had my own birthday party at the house by myself on Zoom. with my people.
Yes, I remember that call.
Yeah, it was fun and a lot of tears, but it was a good call. And that day on my birthday, I had got invited to have a conversation, like a town hall, about inclusion and diversity. And then I got uninvited. On my birthday. And I said, okay. And I had already talked about how I felt about it. But part of me, when I was writing, it came up in emotion again, right? And I was like, so let me, I don't know what that means. You know, so I was like, let me, you know, that's my aggression. Child.
This sunshine right here.
Right. Okay. That's my aggression, y'all. And so I had to, I was like, you know, this is a good moment to let out some of the things that I'm feeling, you know, about that moment where I was, how do you uninvite the few brown people that you invited to the situation and you gonna uninvite me? That's because they don't want my heat. Because I'm gonna be sunshine with it, but I'm gonna let you know because I'm well read and I understand and I'm a lot older than most people and I lived a lot of things that people don't understand and or want to really face.
They weren't trying to create a sense of belongingness.
No, they were not.
And inclusiveness.
They weren't. Or diversity. But it's okay. You know, again, I'm not for everyone. And I like it like that. But I definitely, this was my moment to let it out. And in a positive, safe space. And in a space that people can look at it and, you know, and it's left for interpretation because I believe with the best pieces of art is the art that makes you think and what your translation is. Not me telling you what it should be. So I hope when you watch it and you see it, you enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, tell me that too, because that helps me grow and learn, you know. There is no up for debate about it. It's just what it is. It's what I was feeling. And I always tell people, if you have a debate in you, that means that you're supposed to do something. You're supposed to put your own piece. You could do a rebuttal. I will appreciate it. You know? And so then I was doing a workshop on Clubhouse because I use Clubhouse constructively. And I ended up writing a treatment for another play. And it's a COVID memoir, but it's going to be several artists telling their story, but I won't tell you the twist.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. And I'm excited because I'm gonna shoot it in a virtual standpoint because we're still living a virtual like existence.
Yes.
So why not have this done like that? It's just I like it. I'm like on a high about it, and I want to tell you some more about it, but I don't even want to tell you the name because I don't want anybody to take the name because the name is a little fire. I think
they got away. My sister, my divine sister, my sunshine, this beacon of light. We want to thank you so much, Pineapple Grenade by Robyn, and Realizing You looks forward to having you on for more topics. Yes, we're actually going to work together and create some topics for your living. Also, we have been able to cover quite a bit today because Trevilia has this mastermind that I just can't resist.
I feel the same about her. I don't think I'm that special, but
she is special.
I'm good.
You gotta be special. So hang with me. I just am so thankful for your authenticity and just always showing me love and showing others love so I can learn how to be more loving. But not only that, just for sharing your gifts. We are going to have to share some of her spoken word after you watch The Pandemic. If you are not ready for the other side to come your way, it's coming back.
It is coming back.
It's coming back. Get connected with Trevilia now on Clubhouse if you have iPhone. I'm going to make sure that I list her handles for you to find her for your future. And then also just be ready for a reoccurring face from Trevilia back on our show.
Thank you.
We want you to continue living well.
I will.
Living in color.
I will. I like living in color.
How you feeling about tonight?
I feel really good. I feel peaceful. I feel that this was so needed. And I thank you all who watched part 1 and part 2 for embracing me in my uniqueness and just allowing my words to be a part of your life. And I hope that they resonate with you, and the words that don't, that's not for you, and it is okay, and you don't have to hold on to it. But what is for you, hold on to it and be well. Be great, because that's what you're here to do, and be love always.
I think we learned pretty heavily tonight that our inheritance is not dictated by things that have happened to us, but the dynamic that we create for ourselves going forward and the groups that surround us. So I just thank God for allowing you to be a part of my life, and for the positive diet to resonate with me. I think I have to restart that 21-day challenge quite a bit, but we're not perfect. We're all works in progress, and our mental plateaus along with our physical plateaus are so important, guys. So love on yourselves. Show Trevilia some love by following her, and we want to thank you.
Thank you. And just remember to, I had a revelation the other day, and you can keep it or edit this out, but this was like so deep. I was in meditation, and I'm starting to embrace the Bible more lately than I ever have in my life. And the Bible says that we come to do greater works than Jesus, right? And for anybody who's dealing with parent issues, I know there's a lot of people that deal with parent issues, and now with the pandemic, they have more issues with parents and stuff like that. But when it said that, and it was like, well, if you came to do greater works than Jesus, then you definitely could do greater works than your parents if they failed you. If you feel like they failed you, if you feel like they did not give you the life that you want, or wanted, or needed, or you deserve better, then you definitely could do better than them. So don't let it hold you. Don't let it keep you bound. I hope that resonates. Does that make sense?
It makes a whole lot of sense. And I just want to leave you guys with keep going. Go, 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 go. Good night, guys. Bye.
Go with the flow with this. Don't you worry, Trees won't grow the same, and people might forget your name. Doesn't matter if they do. Don't you hurry, when the hot coffee pours will stain, and when the Uber left you in the rain.